Weather is approaching the Ozarks. We'll have a look at road conditions before your morning commutes.
And riots ensued last night in Washington, D.C. We have a timeline of events and local reaction.
Also, what we know on the accident between a driver and a bicyclist last night on Highway 65. We've got all these stories and much more all ahead coming up this morning for you on Daybreak.
Good morning. Thanks for joining us and starting your Thursday with us. Today is January 7th. I'm Jennifer Abreu.
And I'm Joe Morano. We have a lot of news to get to from what's been happening around Missouri and in Washington throughout the next 2 hours, Jen.
Yes, around the nation. And as we said, those local reactions, how our senators are responding, our representatives here from Missouri. So we'll have all of that for you in just a couple of minutes.
Yes, but if you're getting out on the roads today, you really want to take some caution. Meteorologist TJ Springer has been telling us about this all week. It's finally coming here today, TJ. Is that bad weather here yet?
It is, yeah. It's really dancing all around Springfield, so to speak, guys. We've seen that rain and snow change over at times, but it's really been more of a rain here in the metro compared to snow around in some of the more rural communities here in southwest Missouri and northwestern Arkansas.
Just this morning, TJ, you were having a conversation in the newsroom with our reporter Bailey, and a lot of people may be disappointed they didn't wake up to snow here in Springfield. You said, you know, I could hear rain this morning, so we knew then we are not getting any snow,
I even did
right now.
I did a snow dance, too. I really thought that would have done
It would have helped.
Yeah, but I think we will see that change over here throughout the next couple of hours in the metro as temperatures do continue to cool down. Seeing lots of moisture, really heavy rains down across parts of Arkansas in the higher elevations of the natural state. That's where we've seen some heavier snow reports thus far because of it being colder. But you can see snow on either side, really, of Greene County. It's been a bit heavier to our east and to our west, but I think we're going to continue to see the temperatures cool and that changeover occur here in Greene County and in Springfield. Now, you can see down to our south where places like Compton, where higher elevations have played a huge role. We've seen some heavier snow down that way, over 2 inches, and even some reports of close to 4 inches down across parts of northwestern Arkansas. Here's a live look in Springfield, looking westward over Park Central Square, where it definitely does look wet. And there still could be slick spots. You're going to want to take it easy no matter what on your morning commute, with temperatures sitting pretty close to the freezing mark, if not at freezing already. You can see we have winter weather advisories and winter storm warnings still in effect, and we'll talk about how long they last and when we do begin to see some improvement in just a little bit.
All right, so a lot of caution will be needed this morning as that weather's going to affect a lot of our viewing area.
That's right, and we have our Bailey Stroll driving around Springfield right now. Let's check in with her. Bailey, where are you and how are road conditions where you are?
Right now, we're heading south on Glenstone, just past Chestnut Expressway, now passing St. Louis and Springfield. And right here in Springfield, just wet roads. Nothing, no ice, no flurries, nothing yet. The temperature just hasn't fallen enough to see any flurries here in Springfield. But like TJ said, it might have switched over sometime overnight. But we're back to rain right now. I haven't seen any MoDOT crews yet, but I'm sure I will. It's just hard for them to start treating when we're in that limbo between whether we're going to have ice or whether we're going to have snow. But if you are heading out this morning, check the MoDOT traveler map. Right now it's all green, so we're looking good across the area. We're going to check out some other places. We're going to head towards Rogersville right now to see if there's any snow coming down there to our east or southeast, and we'll keep you updated. But for now, if you're heading out, you won't have to clean off your car. That's a good sign, but you won't have that white snowy day like we might have been expecting here in Springfield. Wet roads, no hazardous road conditions at the moment, but we'll check back in with you soon. Bailey Stroll, Ozarks First, back to you guys.
We will not be kept out of this chamber by thugs, mobs, or threats.
Now, January 6th will go down as one of the darkest days in recent American history.
After a lengthy day of protests and riots in Washington, Congress reconvened last night and voiced opinions on the events that had happened throughout Washington yesterday before certifying each state's electoral college votes from November to confirm Joe Biden will be the next president. Congress actually just concluded its session about 2 hours ago.
President Trump is currently suspended from Twitter for about another hour right now due to continued false claims about the election. But one of his aides tweeted out this statement after Congress gavelled out. It reads, quote, "Even though I totally disagree with the outcome of the election and the facts bear me out, nevertheless, there will be an orderly transition on January 20th. Yesterday afternoon, Congress was moved out of the Senate chamber when hundreds of Trump supporters breached the building in protest. One woman was shot and later died, and 50 arrests were made.
Now, once the evening came, there was a lot going on both inside and outside of the Capitol. We'll break it all down for you. But first, we want to check in with Frances Lynn, who brings us some local reaction from all of these events.
I hate that it turned violent. It never should have. That's ridiculous. But the protest itself, that's not that big of a deal. That's what our country's founded on. The group that broke into the Capitol themselves to begin with is not the same group as the peaceful ones outside.
I think it's a good thing because it's showing the Democrats just exactly how immature, and really it kind of shows them when they was doing it back.
I am supporting the protest. You got millions and millions of Republicans across the United States who are not buying the story that Biden won. I believe that is the reason that they're protesting.
I've had the same sick to my stomach feeling as I did on 9/11. I just really pray that we're not going to have another civil war.
Grew up in a family of Republicans. My family homesteaded this state before it was a state. I've had a family member in every war that this country's ever had. I have never been more ashamed of this country in my whole life. And I think they're all rolling over in their graves. This is not what they fought for. President Trump needs to stand up and put a stop to it. But we know it's not going to happen because he hasn't put a stop to it for 4 years. I will be very thankful when that man is gone out of our White House.
I think it's good that protesting has happened, with the Black Lives Matter and with this, but the hate and the violence and the borderline terrorism isn't necessary.
I'm ashamed for the country. We had an election. It was a fair election. There were Black Lives Matters protests that were very peaceful. And, the National Guard came out. For instance, when Trump wanted to send a message by standing in front of a church and hold a Bible. But yet Congress was in session. People came and were violent.
I did vote for Trump, but this isn't what I voted for. I was completely shocked and embarrassed. This is just not the America that I'm proud to be a part of.
Quite shocking. Definitely left me with a really uneasy feeling. I really hope that we can start coming together as Americans, not just liberals or conservatives.
And some more local news for you this morning. A bicyclist was hit on Highway 65 overnight. According to police, the driver was taking a left turn and did not see the 38-year-old male cyclist. His injuries are severe, but his current condition is unknown. Police say the bicyclist did not have reflective lights on the bike and was wearing dark clothes at the time of the accident.
We have a lot more ahead for you this morning on Daybreak. We need to let you know how the riots in Washington affected Wall Street in your Money Watch report. That's up next when we continue.
From Color 10 Ozarks First, Jennifer Abreu, Joe Morano, and weather with meteorologist TJ Springer. This is Color 10 News Daybreak. And now weather with meteorologist TJ Springer, certified by WeatherRate for the most accurate forecast in the Ozarks.
An area of low pressure has been tracking through the region, and that's why we've seen some rain and also some snow, some heavier rains down across parts of Arkansas. We saw that snow across parts of the Dakotas, Minnesota, Iowa, Nebraska yesterday. Really, it was two storm systems, but the one to the south has allowed our temperatures to cool here at home and has brought us this wintry weather. We are seeing a lot of blue on the map here using dual pole Doppler radar, really just all around Springfield, but we call this kind of an urban heat island effect, so to speak, with all the concrete and all the warmth that is around the city. Temperatures do usually stay a little more elevated, but where temperatures can fall quicker in rural areas where we don't have that effect, you can see lots of blue. So I think we're going to see that changeover in Greene County and around the metro throughout the next couple of hours, but it has been snowing a bit heavier, seeing some deeper shades of blue off toward the east. But where the bulk of this snow is going to fall and come down heavier, we've seen that thus far down across parts of northwestern Arkansas and the higher elevations, places like the Boston Mountains. You can see this report around 1:46 this morning of the snow falling there at over 2,000 feet, and we've seen reports close to 4 inches down that way in and around Compton. So it's really coming down, and there are going to be spots that do have to endure a slick commute. So I think we'll keep the yellow light around through the day. Even this evening, with the moisture starting to clear, there still could be slick roadways on side streets and neighborhood roads that maybe aren't as well traveled. So that's something we'll be keeping tabs on too. You're going to want to allow some extra time to, I think, scrape off your windshield, maybe a couple of minutes, but it could take a little bit longer in the spots that have seen a little more snow. So that's something to also be aware of this morning. You may want to allow not only time to travel, but some time to clean off your car and get that all dusted off. And Branson looking wet. This is a live look over 76th Country Boulevard. Rain for now. We've seen that just like in Springfield, but it's all around us, that blue, that snow. Taking a peek outside your door in Springfield, just 2 degrees above freezing, but I think we'll be able to drop close to freezing within the next hour to two with that humidity at 96%. Throughout the rest of the area, we are now at freezing in Branson, for that matter, 34 in Camdenton. As the snow continues to fall, temperatures will continue to cool, and if we haven't hit saturation yet, we'll be able to drop another degree or two, just like we have in Springfield, with the humidity almost at 100%. Futurecast continues to show lingering moisture through lunchtime. We keep this moisture clearing through the day, with just some clouds around through the overnight, falling back into the 20s. So we could have some refreeze of any lingering wet spots out there, which could lead to some patchy slick roadways on our Friday morning. And we're not going to see as much sunshine tomorrow either. We'll call it peaks of sun, mainly cloudy, with highs rising back into the 30s. So how much are we looking at throughout the rest of our day? I think anywhere from maybe a ½ inch to an inch or so around the metro, with the heaviest amount still down across northwestern Arkansas, seeing those shades of blue, another maybe 2 to 3 inches possible higher up in the sky. South and east of I-44, southeast of Highway 60, still going to be the best zones for seeing a dusting up to an inch or so. That's why we do have those winter weather advisories in effect for a good chunk of southwestern Missouri until 3 o'clock, with these winter storm warnings for the heavier snow down in the pink shaded counties in northwestern Arkansas. We'll call it a lighter snow day. Still could be some pockets of moderate snow with highs only in the middle 30s. Going to be a cold, wintry day. Watching out for those slick spots overnight. Pretty seasonable. A little bit above average, though, falling toward 25. The clouds going to stick around. We'll keep them around for our Friday and our certified most accurate 7-day forecast. Cold Saturday, Sunday, Monday. We will see a little more sunshine behind a system that may bring some light snow to parts of northwestern Arkansas. We'll be watching that. 47 on Tuesday. We're back into the 50s by Wednesday.
Stocks were mixed during a busy Wednesday. The Dow jumped 437 points. The Nasdaq fell 78, while the S&P 500 added 21. With projected wins in Georgia's 2 Senate runoff elections, Democrats are now set to control Congress when President-elect Biden takes office, which investors hope means a new and larger coronavirus relief package. The pro-Trump riots at the U.S. Capitol did lead to a slight pullback in the afternoon. Posts and a video from President Trump addressing those supporters, seemingly sympathizing with them while also repeating false claims about the election, led to social media companies taking their strongest action to date against Mr. Trump's rhetoric. Twitter and Facebook each locked his account for the day, with Twitter adding that if he does not stop violating the site's rules, he could be permanently banned. Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube removed the video from their platforms. And finally, gas mileage and pollution in 2019 cars was worse compared to the previous year for the first time in 5 years. According to the Environmental Protection Agency, mileage dropped 0.2 miles per gallon and greenhouse gas emissions rose nearly 1%. Environmental groups blame the EPA for rolling back Obama-era standards, which the Trump administration said were too burdensome for auto manufacturers. And that's your CBS Money Watch report. For more, head to cbsmoneywatch.com. At the CBS Broadcast Center, I'm Diane King Hall.
Sports is up next for you. More bad news for the Lady Bears. On the way out of quarantine when a second test sends them back in. We'll have more details on the upcoming delays for the team in just a few minutes.
And now, sports on Color 10 News.
Just when the Missouri State Lady Bears were set to come out of a COVID quarantine, the team went back into isolation. In our Bear Nation report, a second COVID-19 positive has put another hold on the program. That means that the Lady Bears series with Loyola, set for Friday and Saturday at JQH Arena, has been postponed. Missouri State University confirming to Color 10 Sports that the positive test is a second individual that was not part of the first infection. The 25th ranked Lady Bears have not played a game since December 19th. The Drury Lady Panthers hit the O'Reilly Family Event Center hardwood last night looking for their 40th straight win. Amy Egan's Lady Panthers are 7-0, and in the middle of a 5-game homestand, the Drury Lady Panthers have also never lost to McHenry, 10-0 all time. Bearcats trying to get their first win by guarding Paige Robinson close. She turned to assists, feeding Emily Parker for the 3 there. Then next possession, Robinson double team, draws the same pass, this time to Katie Kirkhart. She buries the 3, and Drury was up 12-2 right out of the gate. With Robinson covered, it was Parker who would lead the scoring effort. She finished in transition on her way to a game-high 19, and close behind her was Kelsey Winfrey. Second quarter, she powers in for the finish and the foul. Drury was up 50-25 at halftime. third quarter, more Winfrey, this time from the perimeter, putting the Lady Panthers up 67-42. Then in the fourth quarter, she strikes again from the outside. The senior scored 18 as Drury tops McKendree 92-62 and stays perfect on the season at 8-0. On the men's side, the Drury Panthers were looking for their third straight win last night. Jason Montgomery picking up where he left off on Sunday. The corner three here makes it a 5-4 Drury start. McKendree hot from the outside. Brendan Gooch with the triple, and the Bearcats were up 17-12. Drury can play the perimeter game as well. Cal Hartley with the deep three, and he got fouled. He made the free throw, so the 4-point play would make it 19-16 McKendree. Then Conley Garrison with the inbound pass to who else? Hartley knocks down the catch-and-shoot triple, 25-24 Drury. Then Garrison would take it coast to coast, splits the defense, gets the layup. Panthers up 3. Garrison led all scorers with 34 points, and Drury wins in overtime 92-88. Southwest Baptist Bearcats face Indianapolis last night. Lady Bearcats lose 72-61. Southwest Baptist, though, wins 64-58. The Evangel Crusaders at Mid-America Nazarene. Lady Crusaders lost 85-59. Mid-America beat Evangel 74-62. I'm Dan Lucy with your morning sports.
We have been tracking snow across parts of the Color 10 viewing area this morning, where we have not seen it just yet in Springfield, but I think we will in the extreme near future. It's all around us. You can see that green still across parts of Greene County, even in southward into Christian County. Taney County seeing some of that green too near Branson, but notice a lot more blue on the map compared to the green, which is obviously the snow. And there are some deeper shades of blue indicative of some heavier snow, but the heaviest so far has been in northwestern Arkansas. That's where we have seen it longer in the higher elevations down there. In places like Compton, have been seeing it above 2,000 feet. Some reports of over 4 inches of snow down that way. I've seen some reports on social media, on Twitter, some videos of just a wind-driven, heavy snow. That's where visibility has been reduced. Only 3 miles in Harrison, Fayetteville because of that snow. 8 in West Plains and Joplin, 9 in Springfield at the moment. Just seeing really smoother conditions in the metro for now, but I think as we head through the morning, we could see some possible slick spots, especially once you get out of town. But this is the view over Park Central Square, taking that westward jog here this morning. Temperatures in Springfield still sitting at 34, but notice Branson now at 32. 36 in West Plains, 34 in Camdenton and Joplin, lower 30s down toward Fayetteville and Harrison, Arkansas. Even with the temperatures slightly above freezing, because of the snowfall rates, we've overcome that at the surface and been able to see a fair amount of snowfall accumulation in northwestern Arkansas. Still seeing lots of winter weather advisories in effect here, including Greene County and the Springfield metro. Down to the south, that's where we have that winter storm warning still for the heaviest snowfall there. Some spots could see over 6 inches in some localized spots. Now, we'll talk more about how long this snowfall sticks around and when we finally start to see more sunshine and warmth, Jen, coming up in just a little bit.
All right, TJ, sounds good. I know a lot of people wanted that snow, but I'm always looking forward to that sunshine and warmth. Thank you. It is 5:23 right now, and up next for you here on Daybreak, there are talks about possible impeachment after those riots at the nation's capital yesterday. We'll have more details about the fallout from the protests when we come back. Welcome back to Daybreak 525 right now. According to CBS News, some of President Trump's own cabinet members have been whispering about impeachment and about whether to move forward with formal proceedings to invoke the 25th Amendment and remove him from office days before his term ends. While the president could delay the process to run out the clock past January 20th, it's a serious part of the fallout from yesterday's attack on the U.S. Capitol by his supporters. CBS's Natalie Brand is on Capitol Hill with what happened.
Joseph R. Biden Jr. of the state of Delaware has received 306 votes.
In the early hours of Thursday morning, the joint session of Congress affirmed President-elect Joe Biden and Vice President-elect Kamala Harris's Electoral College win after defeating objections to Arizona and Pennsylvania's votes.
The noes have it.
It came hours after Trump supporters stormed the U.S. Capitol building, some making it as far as Speaker Nancy Pelosi's office. Others reached the Senate floor. Capitol Police drew their guns as people tried to enter the House. 4 people died during the chaos, 3 from medical emergencies. 1 woman was shot and killed. Members of the House and Senate had been evacuated from their chambers.
This is banana republic crap.
Wisconsin GOP Congressman Mike Gallagher sheltered in place in his office.
Mr. President, you have got to stop this.
Earlier Wednesday, President Trump continued his attacks on the 2020 election.
We will never give up. We will never concede.
Mr. Trump's Twitter account was later locked after posting this video message to his supporters.
So go home. We love you. You're very special.
The violence began shortly after some Republicans raised their first objection, an effort to show support for President Trump, even if it didn't have the votes to succeed.
And it gives credibility to a dark chapter of our history.
Early this morning, the White House released a statement from President Trump saying though he disagrees with the outcome of the election, there will be an orderly transition on January 20th. Natalie Brand, CBS News, Capitol Hill.
Police said at least 52 people were arrested as of Wednesday night, including 26 on the Capitol grounds. At least 14 police officers were injured.
Bottom of the hour for you now. Plenty more ahead this morning, though. Protests in support of President Trump also happened here in Missouri. They remained peaceful yesterday. We'll see what Governor Mike Parson had to say about all of Wednesday's events when we come back.
morning and thanks for joining us. Today is Thursday, January 7th. I'm Jennifer Abreu.
And I'm Joe Morano. We are getting close to that weekend. Jen, good to see you again, too.
Yeah, it's good to see you again, too, Joe, because when I was here, you weren't here last year for the new year.
That's the holiday stretch. That's the beauty of it, though, all right? So hopefully we each got a nice little time off. Hopefully everyone at home did. We are still in that first full week of the year, though, so I know that can seem long for a lot of people, right?
Yeah, that's right. It is already January 7th, and you know who's also back with us? TJ.
Of
the
course.
whole team is back together today. And here we are, guys. It's like a new year again for me.
Literally.
Just being with the whole team again.
I'm beaming. I'm so happy we're all back together. I've been looking forward to this for so long.
Very good to see.
Yeah,
We're all liking it, but tell you what, TJ's been increasingly busy as the week's gone on, though, right? Because you've had a lot to track.
Yeah, we have been talking about this winter storm, guys, for a little bit, and some of us have seen a fair amount of snow from it. Not all of us. We've been trying to battle out this warmer air, quote unquote, at the surface here in Springfield, even higher up in the sky, which has led to just more of a cold rain here in the metro. But you can see the white in a lot of it across the area. We've seen some of that eastward along Highway 60, more snow down across parts of northwestern Arkansas. That's where the heaviest of it has been, especially in the higher elevations down across the natural states. That's what we have been watching. You can see a slowdown here. This is just dual pole Doppler radar using Springfield's radar site. You can see some of that blue in Mountain Grove near West Plains, but still more rain off to the north and west. I think we're going to kind of battle that out through the next couple of hours, and we're going to continue to see some minor accumulations of that snow. We have seen some of it down to the south in places like Compton, where we have had reports of over a couple of inches, even up to 4 inches or so down that way. So that's what we're going to be tracking. In Springfield, we're seeing just wet conditions right now, but I think we will start to see some whiter conditions eventually as temperatures continue to cool. Lots of lower 30s, some spots in freezing, like in Branson. We'll time it all out, talk more about this snowfall, guys, coming up in just a little bit.
That's right, and pretty much everywhere around the Ozarks is seeing some sort of precipitation then.
Yeah, we woke up this morning with some rain here, at least in Springfield. And we have our Bailey Stroll driving around Springfield right now to check on those road conditions. Bailey, where are you and what are you seeing right now?
We just got back onto Highway 60 in Rogersville. We pulled over for a second, got off the highway, pulled over, and we saw some flurries. So TJ will be happy to hear there are flurries coming down. Very small ones in Rogersville right now, but for the most part, as far as road conditions go, nothing too big. I mean, wet road conditions, and if you can hear the treatment from the roads is just hitting the car. That's really all you can hear if you're heading out on the highways this morning. We did see a MoDOT crew on the other side of Highway 60 when we were coming into town. So we know we're out. We know that they are out there. They are treating the roads, getting ahead of this, but it must have just hit 33 or 32 in Rogersville, because as we were sitting at the gas station waiting for our hit, it switched from rain over to some flurry. So it's coming down here, but again, no road impacts, and we'll check in with you. We did see that if you zoom in on the MoDOT traveler information map before you leave today, make sure to check those road conditions on that site. And if you zoom in down in Berry County near the Missouri-Arkansas border, there are some snow-covered roads. So just because we're not seeing it here and in the Springfield area doesn't mean that there might be some other travel impacts around the Ozarks. And we'll check those out a little later. Guys, back to you.
All right, we will keep checking in with Bailey Stroll throughout Daybreak here. On to some coronavirus news for you, though. The Springfield Health Department has announced 12 new deaths from the week of December 30th to January 5th. They include a man that was in his 20s. The other 11 range in age from 40 to 80. So now the count is 309 people in Greene County that have died from COVID-19.
And the number of COVID-19 patients are expected to increase in the next few weeks. At a Cox Health briefing yesterday, President and CEO Steve Edwards said the number of patients went down about 3 weeks ago, but have been growing every day. There are currently 185 people in the Cox Health system. And Edwards anticipates the number to continue to rise in the next 2 weeks. He says he's also seeing higher asymptomatic positive cases. Now, in terms of vaccinations, Edwards says they can handle vaccinating many people if they have the supply. Infectious disease specialist Dr. Robin Trotman talked about how many people need to get the vaccine for us to achieve herd immunity.
We are hopeful that the state will allow hospitals and health departments to work together, give us a vaccine, quite frankly, get out of our way and let us do what we're good at. We got 91% of our vaccines done in 10 days. That included Christmas and New Year's. We think we can probably deliver 10,000 a day if you give us the vaccines.
A vaccine might benefit you, but
But if we want to have our system open back up and feel freely to move about the community, we need a certain threshold of people to receive the vaccine. That might be 60 or 70%. If 70% receive the vaccine, then there's enough bumpers in the road that it squashes transmission.
Cox Health says it does have sufficient bed capacity right now, but is expecting increased hospitalizations in the coming weeks.
In some news from our Missouri Capitol Bureau, not only were there protesters in Washington, D.C. yesterday, some also gathered in Jefferson City. Those that did gathered peacefully, coming out to show support of President Donald Trump. Some said they were there to stand with Missouri Senator Josh Hawley as well, who originally objected to several states' electoral votes. The rally there lasted a few hours.
And Missouri Governor Mike Parson spoke out about the events that unfolded at the Capitol yesterday, saying his view on riots have not changed.
I'm a law and order guy. I don't care what you present to be or cause you're under. You don't violate the law. There's rules and regulations, and you have to abide by them. That's what I do believe. No matter who you support, no matter what your politics are, you have to be responsible for your conduct. That is uncalled for. When people storm the Capitol and violate the laws, if they're violating the law, that's not who we are.
We'll have more details coming up about the aftermath of the riots in D.C. in just a few minutes. We have reaction from our senators and our representatives here from Missouri, as well as residents here in Missouri. And we'll check on that in just a few minutes. But first, let's check in with meteorologist TJ Springer to update you on those wintry conditions out there if you're going out. TJ, Bailey said she saw some snowflakes out there, so we got to watch for that today, right?
For sure, yeah. I'm glad we got to see some of the snow there from Bailey, and we're going to continue to see it here as we head through the rest of our Thursday morning. The commute could be a little dicey depending on where you are traveling, especially south and east of Highway 60, east along Highway 60. That's where we could see some of those impacts, and on less traveled thoroughfares too. So we'll give it the yellow light through and through today. We'll time out the remainder of this moisture and let you know when it does exit, and so the impacts we could see coming up in just a few minutes.
And now weather with meteorologist TJ Springer, certified by Weather8 for the most accurate forecast in the Ozarks.
Snowfall is coming down across the area. Just got a report of over 2 inches of it down in McDonald County, far southwestern Missouri in Rocky Comfort. We are seeing it across the region, especially in northern and western Arkansas in the higher elevations there where temperatures are just a bit cooler. Using Springfield's dual Doppler radar, seeing some rain, also seeing some snow eastward along Highway 60 as you head out of town. That's where the best bet of seeing some minor accumulation, some possible slick spots on less traveled roadways where the snow has come down a bit more intensely is also on the table. Seeing some reports of snow down across places like Compton, where reports have come in at over 2 inches there, and that's above 2,000 feet. So the higher you go up, the temperatures are colder, and that's supportive of getting some of those snow-covered roadways out there. So please be careful traveling. Even though it's not all that bad in Springfield at all, that's not the case throughout the entirety of the viewing area. We've really been battling out the temperatures. That's really been the toughest part to forecast here with this system, and that's played a role in our precip type and why we haven't seen that changeover just yet here in the metro. But really want to be careful if you are heading on Highway 60, as I mentioned. We'll keep that yellow light through the evening commute. That's where we could see some slick spots today, eastward or westward. You'll want to allow a little bit of extra time on your commute just to drive, because I'm sure it'll be a little bit slower, but also a little bit of time too to scrape off that windshield and dust off your car where the snow has come down heavier. In Branson, we look wet. This is a live look over historic downtown from our bureau camera, looking over 76 Country Boulevard eastward. Looking westward in Springfield, we also look quite wet. Taking a peek outside your door, 34 with that northeasterly wind at over 10 miles per hour. The dew point at 33, so we can fall a little bit more if we can get the temperatures, or if we can get the precipitation to fall a little bit heavier. I think we may be able to take that temperature down just a little bit. Across the rest of the Ozarks, we're fighting to get to freezing as well. We were down that way in Branson. Now we're back up to 34, 33 in Harrison, Arkansas, compared to 36 in Clinton, middle 30s as well in Fort Wood and Camdenton. So a nice mix of low to mid 30s out there. If temperatures were just 5 degrees colder, it would be a much different scenario out there. We'd be seeing white all across the board, but you can see we're not at freezing, and that's what's kept our conditions a little bit better here compared to seeing the slick roadways. Futurecast continues to show moisture circulate on through, even through lunchtime. All this moves off to our east later on this evening, but the clouds do hang tough right into our Friday. I think we'll see some peaks of sunshine. As we wake up, we'll be in the 20s, rounding out in the middle 30s once again. But we're not going to have a completely blue-filled clear sky either, as we continue to see the clouds hang around. Now, in terms of how much snow we're expecting throughout the remainder of our day, I think we could still see another half of an inch to maybe an inch in some spots. Heavier amounts down across places like Harrison, down toward Jasper County, and Nevada, Stockton, Camdenton, maybe a half inch up to an inch. But a lot of us not going to see that much more, but still could be enough to coat the ground and make it a bit slick, especially on those elevated surfaces. Now, we do have winter weather advisories in play, including Springfield, including Greene County, and much of the southern half of the viewing area. Still, the best chances for heavier snow are going to be in the pink shaded winter storm warned counties, where the higher elevations have already seen a lot of snow. Today, we're going to top out in the middle 30s again. Watch out for those slick and icy, slushy conditions out there. As we head through the 7-day forecast, we do stay cold, at least for the weekend, here in our certified most accurate 7-day forecast. 35 Saturday and Sunday, 37 Monday. We do have a system that works by to our south, may bring some snow showers across northern Arkansas. We look to stay dry here in Springfield. 47 Tuesday. We're back into the 50s, Jen. A little warmer, finally, by Wednesday.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah, we deserve that after a cold weekend. All right, TJ, thank you. 5:44 right now. And up next, here on Daybreak, we have a timeline of the events from what happened at the nation's capital yesterday. Stay with us.
And welcome back, everyone. 5:46 this morning. After a day of chaos, D.C. Mayor Muriel Bowser says that the U.S. Capitol is secure and a multi-agency effort will ensure its safety in the next coming days.
Capitol Police, D.C. Metropolitan Police, and the Secretary of the Army will be coordinating a continued response to, in Bowser's words, an unprecedented attack on the American democracy.
Protesters actually began clashing with police yesterday afternoon. Once they breached 4 layers of security, the Capitol went into lockdown. An announcement was played inside the Capitol as both chambers abruptly went into recess. Protesters then breached the building. All of this occurred shortly after President Trump addressed his supporters, vowing that they never concede the election.
Trump supporters stormed the Capitol grounds at around 2 p.m., breaking into the U.S. Capitol building around 2:45 p.m. They made it as far as the House chambers, where just minutes before, Congress was beginning to certify the Electoral College results. Later in the day, tear gas and percussion grenades were deployed by police around the U.S. Capitol to move back rioters, and that's according to the Associated Press.
Some made it into the offices of lawmakers. A photo of this man you may have seen. It's been circulating the internet as he got into Nancy Pelosi's office and sat at her desk. Our sister station, KNWA, confirmed that he's from Gravette, Arkansas, which is in the northwestern part of the state. His name is Richard Barnett, and he's been known to attend similar protests in the Ozarks in the past. There's more photos of him claiming to take a letter from House Speaker Nancy Pelosi's office. That's what you see right there. He also apparently told a reporter it wasn't stealing because he left a quarter on her desk for it. Now, law enforcement was able to secure the building and clear the rioters. A 6 p.m. curfew for Washington, D.C. was put into place yesterday afternoon, but those protests continued into the streets. 47 people were arrested for breaking curfew, combined with 5 other arrests for other issues. 4 people died in the protests, 3 from medical emergencies, and 1 woman was shot while trying to break into the House chambers.
And a San Diego man says his wife was that woman who was shot in the Capitol yesterday afternoon after seeing video of her during news coverage. Police have not confirmed, however, that his wife is the woman who was shot, but he says he believes it's her.
I sent her a text. Clearly, it's within a half hour of the point of her dying, but I sent her a text saying, "Hey, can I get a status check?" And I never heard back from her.
Aaron Babbitt says his wife, 35-year-old Ashley Babbitt, says he watched coverage unfold on the news and saw who he says was his wife, shot and dying on the screen.
She didn't have any weapons on her, and I don't know why she had to die in the people's house. That's our house. It's everybody's house. It doesn't matter if you're Democrat or Republican. I don't know why she had to die inside the house. I saw the pictures. I had to see the pictures of my wife dying on the news. She was voicing her opinion, and she got killed for it.
The Metropolitan Police Department said it would be withholding the woman's name until notifying family. Aaron Babbitt says Ashley is a San Diego native who served in the Air Force and D.C. National Guard for a total of 14 years.
2 pipe bombs were also found on the Capitol grounds yesterday. Officials believe the number of injuries will continue to increase, and not just with those protesters.
You should also be aware that at least 14 MPD officers have sustained injuries during the demonstrations. 1 member suffered serious injuries after he was pulled into a crowd and assaulted. He is currently hospitalized and undergoing testing for treatment for his injuries. 1 officer received significant facial injuries from being struck by a projectile and is also hospitalized. The additional injuries are not as serious in nature, but are nonetheless concerning.
As you know, both the House and Senate were able to reconvene later in the evening and begin the electoral vote count. After a couple of more objections to debate through at about 4 in the morning Eastern time, votes were certified and Joe Biden and Kamala Harris were declared winners.
We are watching out for snow this morning, especially eastward out of Springfield. Seeing lots of blue on the map, and in northwestern Arkansas, too. That's where you're going to encounter the roughest drive into work, or if you don't have school as early because of the snow, maybe later on today as well. So that's what we are keeping tabs on. You want to travel with caution. Did just get a new report in of almost 2.5 inches down toward far southwestern Missouri and Rocky Comfort, but the heaviest snow has been in the higher elevations of northwestern Arkansas. Compton, one of those spots that has seen over a couple of inches this morning. There's that report there in Rocky Comfort, 2.3, still snowing, and we're going to see that here this morning as the moisture continues to track eastward. So watch out for slick roadways, especially on less traveled thoroughfares like back roads, side streets, neighborhood roads as well. The main ones, especially in the metro, are A-OK here this morning, but when you get out of town, that's where things may get just a little more dicey as temperatures cool just a bit. You can see we're struggling to even get to freezing here, and that's why we've had this issue of precip type. If temperatures were upper 20s near 30, it'd be a different story. We have not been able to cool the column in the atmosphere to get snow to form for all of us, and that's what we've been seeing through the overnight, kind of a back and forth, rain to snow, snow to rain sort of situation. I think the changeover does continue, though, as we head through the rest of our morning. If temperatures can cool a little bit more, some could see slushy accumulations through the morning commute, and we're still going to watch out for rain and snow showers through our day, and I think probably just some wet roads for many by later on today as temperatures do get above freezing. Still expecting half inch, maybe an inch for some spots, heavier amounts down across northwestern Arkansas. We'll talk more about it and let you know when temperatures actually do begin to warm up some coming up in just a bit.
All right, TJ, thank you. Checking in on some entertainment news now. CBS All Access debuts a new series today, and Neil Young becomes the latest artist to sell a stake in his music catalog. Chris Martinez has your eye on Entertainment Report.
Michael Chiklis returns to television in the new series Coyote.
I just want to raise a beer to Agent Ben Clemens.
Coyote tells the story of Ben Clemens, who retires after working 32 years as a Border Patrol agent. But instead of enjoying retirement, he's forced to illegally bring people from Mexico into the U.S. under the threat of violence against his family.
The show really is about this notion of a collision of cultures, which is playing itself out all over the world.
Chiklis also serves as an executive producer. The 6-episode series debuts on CBS All Access today.
It's really strong. That's great.
Vanessa Kirby and Shia LaBeouf play Martha and Sean, a couple whose newborn dies during an at-home birth. In the drama Pieces of a Woman, Martha tries to deal with the loss by taking the midwife to court while her relationship with her husband deteriorates and her domineering mother interferes. Pieces of a Woman streams today on Netflix. And Neil Young has sold a 50% stake in his more than 1,000-song music catalog to a British investment company. Young is well known for his criticism of artists who lend their music for advertising campaigns. He's recorded 70 albums with the bands Crosby, Stills, Nash & Young, Crazy Horse, Buffalo Springfield, and as a solo artist. That's your Eye on Entertainment. Chris Martinez, CBS News, Los Angeles.
5:54 right now. We will wrap up the first hour of Daybreak just after this break. Stay with us. Welcome back to Daybreak. Before we go, we want to take a look at MoDOT Traveler's Map this morning as we are expecting some snow. This is actually video from our photog Tim Limecooler and Bailey Stroll. They're out on the roads this morning, just checking out those road conditions. This morning so far, at least in Springfield, it has just been raining. It has just been wet, but we are expecting some snow later on today.
This is all a good sign so far if you got to get out this morning. All green is the all clear. You see as we inch a little bit farther down in our more southern counties, those roads are going to get more covered. This is a good tool to use, though, throughout the day. As TJ's been telling us, we can expect snow throughout the day.
Yeah, that's right. You can just download MoDOT Traveler's Map right on your phone and check that if you have to be out on the roads today. The second hour of Daybreak is coming up in just a couple of minutes.